Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, I hope I'm enough audible to all the participants. Today, we are going to have a series of webinars, and this is the first webinar out of the series, and the series is titled as Pharma Talk. So this will bring industry and academic experts on the platform, and they will share their expertise in their respective fields, and will discuss the trends and needs of the pharma sector. On the same ground, we have today with us Dr. Raghunatha R. Buri. He is expert in artificial intelligence, but presently he holding the position of Associate Director, Data Science at Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, Hyderabad. His top skill is molecular modeling, computational chemistry, computational biology. He is a highly motivated, self-driven, enthusiastic researcher over 10 years of experience in molecular modeling. Presently, he is working on different computational softwares, and his specialty is target-based drug design, ligand-based drug design, homology modeling, protein docking, and the things related to the data science as well as the computer-related drug delivery system. So before Dr. Buri will start the session, I would like to call upon Dr. Anil Pete, Associate Dean, School of Pharmacy and Technology Management, Hyderabad campus, to just introduce our school and the mission behind the sessions. Sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Santosh. It's my privilege to welcome Dr. Raghunatha R. Buri, Associate Director with Dr. Reddy's Laboratory. And I welcome all the participants, including my Dean, Dr. Bala Prabhakar from Mumbai, and all my faculty colleagues. So what we thought, to conduct the webinar series, and this is the first webinar series. Before that, I just want to say something about my university. So SVKM Narsi Munje Institute of Management Study. It is one of the well-known brand in management, and our university it was established in the year 2003. We are one of the topmost rated university in the country, the grade A1 university as far as the NAC is concerned, with the score of 3.59. Our school, that Shobhaben Pratapbhai Patel School of Pharmacy and Technology Management at Mumbai. We have another school, School of Pharmacy and Technology Management at Shirpur, and School of Pharmacy and Technology Management Hyderabad was started last year. So we are pioneer in the course that is BPharm plus MBA integrated 5 years program, and this course is very much accepted by the industry. Within a very short span of time, maybe just 13 years, 2006 is the establishment of our Mumbai school, and within a very short span of time, our school is one of the top 10 pharmacy school in the country. On a similar line, all other schools are working, and this is one of the initiatives that we have started during this lockdown period. We thought to start with the webinar series, and I'm thankful to Dr. Raghunatha Buri for accepting our invitation and with us. Without wasting much time, I request Dr. Raghunatha to start his presentation. Over to you, Dr. Raghunatha. Once again, hearty welcome to you. Yes, Dr. Raghunatha. We are eager to hear you, Dr. Raghunatha. He is not audible.
I think Dr. Raghu, your voice is not audible.
Yeah, now we can see your screen, sir.
He must unmute his mic. I'm able to see that his mic is muted.
Lakshman sir, just call him and.
Okay, what about now?
Yeah, it's pretty good now.
Okay, thank you, Anil sir, for your invitation, and it's my pleasure to share my knowledge in this format. Before going to the actual talk, I just want to give my introduction. Here my education. I did my PhD in Max Planck Institution in Dortmund, and I did MS in bioinformatics in University of Cologne in Germany. My BTech in chemical engineering in VIT. And after my PhD, I went for postdoc in University of Tokyo. Then I came here around 2012 I joined in IIT Hyderabad for 1 year. Then 2013 to 16, I worked in Accelera, which is a drug repurposing team, pharma analytical team. And I joined Jubilant Biosys in 2016. And from last 1 year, I'm working in Data Reddy's laboratory. This all my work related to the my experience fully on drug discovery and in silico on computational application development. So that's my small basic introduction. Coming to this talk divided into the 4 parts. First, I want to explain about the introduction of artificial intelligence. What is a machine learning algorithm? What is a deep learning algorithm? Those things. Then I will go for a small introduction about the drug discovery development. And I will explain about AI and what is the AI in drug discovery doing it, and some examples, and I will conclude it. You can see my talk that nowadays everyone look for the what is the AI, how will use AI application, how to build the AI application, and where we can utilize that AI skills, those things. And this is the slightly basic information. There is no mathematical and statistical equation mentioned in this talk. I just want to give you a small basic introduction about the AI. And if you go to the Wikipedia, what is the AI? It just will tell you that intelligence is demonstrated by the missions. It is a clear cut. We know that missions mimic that some particular function similar as humans take the decision using our brain. Similar to that, missions will take the decision using the artificial intelligence. That artificial intelligence is not a robot, it is a software. Software can made that decisions to take that robot. So that is it is a concept. It's not really new concept. It is one of the oldest concept, but is in previously artificial intelligence considered as a rule-based and logic-based system. But nowadays the AI form is differently formed. It's systems that analyze and learn it from the data. It is a form people thinking about how to utilize the data and how to build a machine learning applications or AI application using our data. And there is different types of AIs. There is a narrow AI, there is a general AI, and super AI. Narrow AI is the form whatever applications we build and we are utilizing, everything belongs to this category. They call it a narrow AI. Narrow AI works very limited functions that takes a task behind. It cannot take the task behind one particular question or one particular problem. This is the form is a It is very good performance. It will come to give a particular task and particular function. This like playing chess or playing Go and predicting the weather forecast or natural language understanding and computer vision, speech related image recognition, speech recognition, or self-driving car. All this belongs to narrow AI. Narrow AI is only limited task they will do. They cannot do other than that task. And the general AI is that that can understand the region like a human can understand like that. It is a general AI is equal to the human, and the super AI it's called smarter than the humans. At present, AI cannot be in general AI category because this is not went what the AI think, what human the thinks they cannot think because it is controlled by data or controlled by the particular task and particular method. So this is the three elements, and we cannot really give some data and ask a different question. Suppose if now I will give you data about how COVID-19 spreading all over the world, and I'm expecting from AI give that a COVID drug molecule. It cannot possible because that cannot think more than that what you given. So that is it is clear that we all is a narrow AI field. So we are giving a particular task to build a machine learning models or AI application. And what is the machine learning algorithm? Machine learning algorithm is the subfield of computer science. It is a computer program that ability to learn based on the data without being writing that program A to Z. That is a concept, and the program can be make a prediction based on the data. It's just like a humans learning from the experience. Permissions, it is a data equivalent to the experience. So the machine learning workflows, it is not just giving the raw data. It have different tasks. There is you have to clean the data and testing the data, deploying, and everything have to be there. Then only it will work. And this is the machine learning application. You can, if you have the data, you can apply any business problem. This is also called as a predictive algorithms. And there is a different types of machine learning algorithms also available. One is called unsupervised learning, and another one is a supervised learning and reinforcement learning. Unsupervised learning has two parts. There is a large varieties are there, but the clustering and dimension reduction is the one of the main two parts of the unsupervised learning. Supervised learning is a classification algorithms and regression models is two different algorithms available in supervised learning. And there is a reinforcement learning. It is based on the agent which you build the agent and give that if he do good task, and you will give some kind of encouragement so that it will do the same task again and again. This is in gaming and learning task they will use. And unsupervised learning, they also called recommendation engines, and visualizing and feature selection will also come. Different places we can use unsupervised learning. And the supervised learning you can use like a image classification, recognize the face, recognize the forecasting, what is the feature forecast, time series data, and the marketing analysis. All this we can use the supervised learning. And one of the important task algorithm is the deep learning algorithm. deep learning algorithms, it is very simpler as humans do, like an algorithm made of different layers called neurons. It's nodes, neural network. It is artificial neural network. It is a form of the different layers forming and understanding the data, what is behind that, making that data. That is called it a multi-layer neural network. Depending on how many layers you build, the accuracy will increase. If you go the higher layer, maybe the abstract level of concept will come. And for example, if I am reading a 10-page of daily newspaper, and if someone asks me what is a headline, I'm able to give that headline within 20 seconds of 10 pages of it. And what happen if the same newspaper give to the other person, he will give you different headlines because the neurons working for my learning and storing the neurons data abstract level is different than the other parts. So the same concept working in neural network also, a deep learning algorithm. It will say that it will depending on the layer, how many layers it is from, what is the algorithm you use. That is the working. It's the same concept to what humans do in the using our raw data, our raw input, or while reading the paper and storing it into the in our brain. And these things, if you see that, you know, now we know that a basic AI, deep learning algorithm is a part of machine learning algorithm. Machine learning algorithm is a part of artificial intelligence. So now if you like to build a model, what really you need is that you need to define the problem. What problem you are going to solve? Because we know that we are in narrow AI, so model can do a particular problem solving. So what do you want to do? You need to understand that problem and to gather the data related to the problem and the particular solution. It's a broader data. If you give the broader data, machine learning will predict the broader. Depending on the data, what data you will give, it will solve that. Accuracy will increase. And based on the data, you need to select the machine learning algorithms. Or there is AutoML programs are running at present. These AutoML programs, based on their data, it will select which algorithm is the best suitable for your data. It is sometime deep learning algorithm very famous, but for your data, it not been suitable. Maybe simple machine learning random forest data is suitable for your data. So it is based on your data, the machine learning algorithms or deep learning algorithm, you have to select it and make that process, selecting process in automatic fashion. So how many algorithms you can check it? You can check. There is parameter tuning also have to be happening. Now you know it is not that simple. It is a combination of AI is a combination of large amount of data and processing and selecting the algorithms and learn from automatically. This all belongs to artificial intelligence. AI can take the data, learn it, and build a models. Based on that, is coming AI. And data science is a cleaning the raw data and processing the raw data becomes data science related. So this is a broad way. Here showing that popular tools where you can use the machine learning and artificial intelligence. And there is a multiple applications are there, like the chatbots or AI, because what you are asking, they have to know. So some automatic process have to develop in AI, and the models have to be built. and understanding the voice that models have to be built, and AI cannot alone cannot do. They have to depending on the machine learning, and they have to depending on the data science. And a total process is not that simple to build a model. You can see here, collecting the data is the one of the biggest task. It is collecting the data relevant to the your problem. That is one of the main point you can. After that, you can store the data, and some extraction and transformation loading ETL process have to be done. And after that, data have to be cleaned, and the preparation have to be done. Means there is a mission can understand only numbers, so you have to convert the test to the numbers. Those things you have to do, and you cannot give all the junk data, so you have to clean that using the feature selection. Which features are important based on different algorithms are there, matrix. From that matrix, you can find it out which column, which data is giving a best result for your problem. That's a to and flow. You have to test multiple. Okay.
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Okay. After this process is done, this is a short summary of AI model building, and you can see here business needs. After business needs, you can see, defining the problem. What is the problem you want to solve it, and how product is look like. Get relevant data preparation, model the training, and evaluate the training is the process. Then after this different process is done, then you can productize the model. Which model is suitable for you? You can do product building and to deploy that model, make the prediction, and see that predictions are giving a good value for you, and re-update this your model and gather the analysis, and those things you have to be do when you're doing the ML application, so that your model will be very accurate. Okay. I think all are pharma background, so I'm not really giving a very good comprehensive drug discovery process, but two approaches I want to mention it is that one is the target based drug discovery approach. Another one is a phenotypic based drug discovery. Target-based drug discovery is based on the lock and key model, and ligand binds to the protein and they activate the process. That's based on the enzymes. This target-based approaches, you can build a compound based on the target protein, but you are not sure that it will only affect on the protein, targeted protein. It may select different targets, and it will called as a off-target effect. It may causes different side effects. That's why this target-based approaches also you have to do multiple times. It will impact that. Means if it is lots of targets is binds, there is no selectivity, then importance of that molecule will be decreased. So, and also high side effects. These off-target effects will also call this polypharmacology. So this will be targeted different targets, so that in clinical trial it will come and it will be a costly failure because of side effects. Another one is a phenotypic screening. Phenotypic screening is that they call it high throughput screening. This take multiple compounds, test on disease model animal, and suppose diabetic animal. If you test it and for diabetic drug, that will, if the diabetic is decreased, that means that compound will be shortlisted. Now we have to find it out. They called it a hit molecule. You have to find it out how this molecule is decreasing the diabetic disease, diabetic condition. So that they have to find a mechanism of action. They have to find a actual target is where it is binding. So very, very big process is still remain before comes to the clinical trial. So they have to screen all the proteins where it is binding. And this is also called as a target freezing and reverse docking in computational world. Here also you can use artificial intelligence and machine learning automatic fashion. This we have developed it, and I will explain it in a case study. Now go to the drug discovery process. Drug discovery pipeline. If you see that there is the here it will take R&D drug discovery when this before preclinical. Everything is around 7 years. You will work and only few compounds will enter to the clinical trial. It is not passing the clinical trial, it is entered to the clinical trial only few compounds. So this is the costly and spending so many years of the so many scientists working on these compounds, compound generation. If it goes to the in deep R&D process, there will be a target identification, there is a compound screening, there is a lead identification. Then after finding the lead, there is a in vitro studies, in vivo studies, and some standard process will be there for preclinical studies, and also standard process for R&D studies. Suppose if you want to find a lead compound, you have to have some kind of activity with particular protein. That protein has a role in a particular disease. This kind of role you will get it. So this every process has a very complex, and multiple teams are involved. Suppose if you goes to the target identification time, there will be analytical chemistry, there will be animal health, there will be understanding the clinical research people will be there, biomedical people. So the hundreds of teams working together and find that particular research. So the data is very broad, and finding this kind of data, it is very difficult. Means connecting the every dot in this data is huge. So in human mind, we cannot think about this data, understand alone. So better use the AI algorithms to understand the patterns in the data, because there is analytical chemistry find that there is this drug is effective, and there is a chemist guy build a different molecule and say that is better than that one. Like this, there will be a medicinal chemist, there is a drug designer, and there is a PKPD studies, and safety analysis. Lots of processes going on. So we have to find we cannot really take the big problem to the AI. If you see here, you can see that there is a multiple problems here. One is the cost. Drug discovery process is very costly affair, and there is a time consuming. If you see here, duration of the time R&D, it is 4.5 years, and the preclinical one year. And this and the number of experiments also very high. And if you see the probability of failure, it is very high. It's 49% is failure in R&D studies, and very costly when it is a failure in phase 2. It's a 56% because of it not impacted the disease. So this failure also we have to reduce. So we cannot really gather the data for this big problem. So we have to slice the problem and make the mission to digest all the data in particular fashion. It's very important task for drug discovery process. Here there is a sections are divided into the parts based on the R&D drug discovery process. Suppose the target selection. In target selection, how they will select the target based on the understanding of the molecular bias of the disease, disease, understanding how this disease occurring. And another one is the generic NGS studies, and there is a disease and drug association. There is a pathway which is affecting this disease, and in that pathway there is a particular proteins are involved, so we can target that proteins. And there is a biomarkers when this disease, suppose a diabetic, there is a glucose reductions are happening. So this kind of studies we can see that in target selection process. So every problem you have to build a particular AI model to solve the bigger problem of drug discovery. And if you see that lead discovery is a compound particular lead finding out. There is a protein structure you have to identify. There is a virtual screening you have to do. I thought to screening you have to do. And the fragment based screening, and there is a development of assay method. So here everywhere we can apply the AI, but it is particularly focusing on particular problem. You have to build a model, you have to collect the data, you have to make the models related to the problem. And all together you can combine it also. If it goes to the medicinal chemistry, there is a chemical synthesis, and there is a structural activity relationship, and the lead optimization will come. And vitro, in vitro studies, vivo studies, and clinical trial. There is a problems everywhere. Every studies, small problems are mentioned, and the data collective data have to be gathered. So now every problem we have to collect the data and generate the model and study it experimentally. And if it is coming good, it's okay. If not coming, we have to rebuild the model, increase the data, increase the feature selection, do this process automatic fashion, so that you are building a AI platform related to the drug discovery. Small problems also we have to build. Suppose if you are looking for ADMET properties or selectivity, how you will find a selectivity for kinase? You have to check all kinase protein molecules. This compound is binding or not. So this data, if it is protein or previously this protein kinase 1 is one have active compounds, some inactive compounds. Now you build a model for particular kinase. Now you give that compound and say that this kinase will bind to this compound or not. That particular question, it will give the answer, it will bind or not bind. Or if it is bind, what is the activity value? Those things we can build a model and develop it continuously, different models, and combine it in as a AI application. So if it goes to the big pharma, there is really, they don't have time to make this huge number of models. So what they did is a collaborative way. They collaborate with different AI startups and build models and share the data between those two and build the models. It's based on their data. suppose Numerate is Takeda with Takeda. They build their models using for cancer research for small molecule therapy. They build the models. This molecule will work in cancer. So like this, they will big pharmas all collaborate with AI startups, and AI startups will build the models and deploy in for their purpose. That is the way people do at present. If it goes to all the startups, which is the building AI applications for drug discovery, they also will not work entire pipeline of drug discovery. They will work in small problems like atom-wise. Atom-wise screening the small molecule with the particular proteins. So this are particular disease oriented. Suppose atom-wise working with malaria with Merck. So they build malaria-related targets in this using deep learning. And if you give any compound, they will tell you that it will work for malaria or not. Based on the different target will be there, and the targets are related to the malaria. So like this, it will work. Every AI startup you can see here. There is a Numerate, there is a Insilco. Everyone has a different indications, and if they have multiple indications, there will be a small division of the complex. So you can get that information when we go further. So I like to explain few more startups are in deep what they're doing, because it can be, we can understand what the AI company is doing in drug discovery process. Here there is a Precision Life. This Precision Life is based on the data, which is gives the genomic data and phenotypic data. This all startups will use for target selection for particular disease. So because of time, I'm just going fast. If you have any more details about the startup, you can go given the links in reference. And atom-wise, it is spreaded the drug candidates and based on the neural network. And also it will give you the synthetic steps of that molecule, how to build. And Numerate will analyze the public domain data and will give you that what drugs belongs to which disease related. Suppose oncology related, there is a particular type of the drugs is related to the cancer. It will work very nicely. Like compound, part of the compound, it will work nice in oncology related fragment base. And Cyclica will explain about the mechanism of action based on the reverse docking. It is like predicting the pharmacokinetic or polypharmacology, multiple targets, if selectivity, those kind of things. Which, if you give the compound, it will select different targets and finalize that this compound will bind multiple targets. Where which targets they bind, it will tell you. And therapeutic e-therapeutics is based on the cellular network, and it will give you about the related mechanism of action, how it is the curing that disease, which is the related pathway is occurring based on the drug interaction and protein interaction. And Insilco medicine working especially on aging related disease, and it will build a drug molecule, a new drug molecule, and test aging related disease. It is one of the top drug discovery field. And this is also based on the target and disease related 2XR. It is one of the big in disease biology. And this is a German company which gives the understand that all bio test related understand the articles published in publication and predict the biomarkers, which biomarkers is suitable for particular disease. There are also in clinical trial, which is the biomarker identification. And I like to give examples of my own where I worked in Accelera. This is the data we have collected for drug repurposing. Different public domain data collecting in different data marts like compound related data, gene expression related data, pathway related data. All the data concluded in one integrated database and combined with the internal data, proprietary data like GoStar and the structural activity like a biomarker database, so that we can build an application based on this data. Because here what is the problem is that the integration of the data. Suppose one data has the protein to disease. Another database has the protein to drug molecule interaction activity related data. You have to combine those data and feed it into the machine learning is very important part. And that integration of the data have to be automatic fashion, otherwise it will be confusing for machine learning and also for us. And after building the databases, you can build algorithms based on that data, like literature mining, adverse event prediction, and protein-protein interaction, and pathway finding, gene expression data analysis, like this. And finally, you will get a conclusion that suppose if you give the one drug molecule, it is this drug molecule is approved for diabetic. Is it work for cancer drugs, cancer disease or not? You want to know that information, it will be automatically will be given that. And also it will give you the clear cut where it is published, how it is affecting that cancer killing the cancer cells. This kind of information also will be provided based on the data. And we build a application in Jubilant. This is the one as the target identification, based on the target identification plus structural activity prediction. And you can see there is a multiple problems will be solved automatically, saying that is the selectivity issues, and ADMET is toxicity will be there or not, blood barrier it is crossing the blood barrier or not. This kind of work can be done using this platform. And this platform is we have tested in 2017, I think. We based on our study case study, we given a number of cancer drugs, and we selected one disease like a diabetic. Then it checking that these cancer drugs will work on diabetic or not, it will cure the diabetic or not. We tested, we collected the data for particularly diabetic targets related data, and we find that if you give that drug molecule, we build models for every target, and we analyze the target related data, and see that where these cancer drugs are binding in this particular diabetic targets, and how it is affecting the overall pathway. That's things we analyze it, and we give you automatically what is the top target is binding all the cancer drugs. So this study already published in recently in Novartis recent publication. It is very related to our topic, so I like to mention this study. This given this all the databases lab means structural activity relation, and literature mining based on the disease and target and compound related information given to that integrated database, and build a models, QSR models, and predict that model and do experimental validation and update the models. Like this, the process will work on it. So after for case study, we given this cancer drug molecule, all cancer drug molecules, and checking that all the diabetic related targets, which compound will bind the diabetic related targets. We find top 6 compounds, which is the binding diabetic targets. 6 compound, all out of 10, it is all are steroids. When this comes to our mind as how the steroids affecting the diabetic, we know that steroids will affect on the ER stress pathway, so that maybe it is affecting the related to the stress pathway. So we checked it. This steroids really controlling the glucose. It is every scientist know that this will affect on diabetic. Before running this algorithm, we really don't know, because cancer drugs working for the diabetic, it is very rare. Nobody will test it because the cancer drug is a little bit toxic to the cells, so that we don't want to check in diabetic related condition. But we want to analyze this kind of data, which is never published. But we find it this kind of steroids really working on glucose control. So in machine learning, it will really predicting different than the what humans will analyze based on the data. So not only that, there is every compound, every target, multiple active compounds, multiple inactive compounds will be there. We build a model and say if a new compound comes, it will be an active compound or inactive compound, we can say. And we can build automatically based on the fragments, and we can get the patent related to the new molecule fragment based drug discovery also. We can use the AI and ML related applications. In total summary, I like to give that systems that analyze and find the patterns in the data is the form of AI and ML application. And just like humans learn from the experience, and computers learn from the data. And you know it, narrow AI, it is a very limited task. Hello.
Yes, Dr.
Yeah,
Raghu.
we are getting your voice.
Okay. Yeah, predicting the predictive model is one of the model we can generate using AI and ML. And every model building time, there will be a number of predators. That means a number of data will be there. That you have to find it out which is the related to the your model. And based on that model, some statistical rules will be applied in machine learning and build the models. After building the models, you have to analyze that data and revise that model and update it is very important. And the model selection, which model you use, it is depending on your data. It will be a simpler linear equation, linear regression, or complex neural network like a deep learning. It is depending on your data. And drug discovery process will take a long time to approve the drug. If you want to reduce the R&D cost and time, reduce the time, it will be build a different models for every team. And AI ML approaches will be suitable for the drug discovery, but it have to be build multiple models for one complex problem. Integrating the multiple data and converting into the mission readable format is the big task in model building or AI in drug discovery. collecting that data is very important, which is related to the problem. And the AML approaches ready to apply means many people did biological activity of the new compound, and people find it out what protein family is affecting and pathways is affecting those things. And many toxicology studies, genome taxing profiles are built using AML. And we also developed integrated target discovery applications and using AML and docking process, which is in silico drug discovery. And this combination of AML and docking technology will be very good, suitable for this target profile of the. And finally, we know that every big pharma has very big data, but it's not well organized. And you can see here, CTO of Numerate mentioned it is data is available, but it's not in clean form. So cleaning that data is take huge task. And really, the AI can be applied, but the success stories not there at present, because it is not real simple process, simple model like just finding the image recognition or cat and dog. It is not that simple. It is very complex. So you have to build a multiple model and test different. But there is a really success stories how machine learning predicting the organic reactions. There is applied in deep learning to understand the disease biology. There is a process, there are lots of process working on it. So in future it will be a good to work with this, because there is AutoML came now, so automatically you can select the machine learning algorithm which is suitable for your data. There is a hyperparameter tuning is coming, so that you can check that automatically which parameter is suitable, how many neurals layers of the neural network will work for your data. Those things will be automatically analyzed and this all is a take home message. And if you have any question, you can send them a chat or you can inform me.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Santosh, it's over to you now. Yes.
Yeah. So I request all the participants, if you have any questions, kindly put it into the chat box.
In the meantime, shall I ask one question?
Yeah,
Yeah.
please. Meanwhile, I collect the questions from YouTube.
Yeah.
There are about 100 participants on the YouTube also.
Yeah, please. And in the meantime, I'll just
please continue with the question.
Yeah, wonderful presentation, Dr. Buri. That was very informative. I just wanted to know, nowadays, you know what's happening outside about this COVID-19, and very little information and data is available about it. So do you, in this scenario, do you think AI technologies can help us bring the vaccine or the drugs quicker or more effectively? Do you see any role for it? Because there is very little data available on COVID-19.
Yeah, there is a work is going on, which there is a different synonym here. One is the controlling. Suppose COVID-19 problem is the biggest one. Means there is a complex problem is there, but they are finding the relation between the disease to disease.
Okay.
Suppose this is related to the TB or related to the malaria, so it will work like that. So it will be, means people are connecting the dot, how the symptoms of the COVID-19, what is the symptoms of the other disease.
Okay, so
that it is easy to connect the dots. Then applying the machine learning, it will really help. But you have to give the specific data, gathering that related data. Suppose how people are thinking that COVID-19 symptoms is this.
Yeah,
to find it. Symptom-wise analysis. Lots of people are doing. Suppose if you go to the one of the case studies mentioned in startups,
mhm.
all the startups there will be having a COVID-19 session.
Yeah, so they're just building up, and eventually it will be useful. But just as a follow up, more than 50% of the audience are students here, and by this unprecedented rush, we can already anticipate that most of them are interested in learning a thing about artificial intelligence. So what would be your advice to all those students who have, and also to the young faculties who have interest in this AI technologies? What would be your advice to them?
My request is simple: is that before want to apply AI and ML, before that you understand what problem you want to solve.
Okay.
Clearly understand what problem you want to solve. Then try to get the data. Then it's automatic you are building a AML application.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
clarity, getting the problem, what you want to solve is very, very important.
Sure.
Sir, Buri
Yes.
sir, this is
Yeah.
Dr. Santosh, and
Nice.
there are a few questions on YouTube.
Okay.
The first question I would like to share from Amrita Honkeri.
Okay.
What she asked, how AI can help in the management of COVID-19 other than repurposing the drug?
Okay. We can predict that where is the spreading. I have seen when it is going to over the COVID-19 situation, lockdown situation. That is also we can predict it how where we can stop it. Means spreading the COVID-19 also is a good to apply and ML, and finding the symptoms. It is also very important. Means some people don't know that they got COVID-19, but if you simple chatbot, if you send it to them and asking what is the symptoms you have, based on that analysis, you can say that you got COVID-19. Those like that simple application will be very helpful.
Okay.
And
There is another question.
finding that yeah.
Yep. If you're not finished, you please continue.
Yeah, if you diagnose that COVID-19, there is a X-rays also. They're doing it. This is an image analysis technique, which is belongs to AI, and it will also really before testing your samples, they can say that you got a COVID-19.
Okay. Then there is another question by Lata Prasad. How can we use AI in academic research? And with the same question, she also asked whether any free software available that can be used in the academia.
Okay. Yeah, lots of free softwares available, especially Python oriented. It's a huge area, and even Google also released TensorFlow, like that AI ML applications free of cost. Lots of applications are there without any cost, but you have to have some kind of knowledge how to use it.
Okay, means language is necessary.
Not language. It is suppose you want to learn, you want to apply the deep learning algorithm for particular problem, and you have every data. It is a simple like Orange. There is a application. You have to download it and click button. You can do it. Or there is a Vika software. There is you can download it and open your Excel sheet, and you can build a models.
Okay.
But you have to understand that this data is related to your problem. That's all.
Sir, another question from one of the student. He is a first year MPharm student, and he wanted to know how can AI technology can be used to prepare a research project. Is any university help students to get into these kind of research project?
Yeah, there is big research is going on is natural language processing or natural language understanding, NLP, NLU area. This area will this area will help you that suppose if you are giving 10 articles to read that and to say that give me summary of short summary of that, and we are also building like application try to understand the patent, what is the claims are there, and if you give multiple patent will give you what is the claim understanding. Those things really understanding the language written in these articles and rewrite that program to the what we need it. Suppose if I give a 10 patent and give me what really this patent related, which company made it and how they made it, what is the claims, when it is going to be end. In short summary, give me that specifications of the claims. This all you can make the simple landscape of the patent. And there is a lots of applications also already built on this patent landscaping. And people are working very hard on natural language understanding. So this can be done. But I don't think research-oriented project because the project is the idea.
Okay.
Idea cannot be derived from the particularly data.
I see. Sir, there are a few questions in the Zoom also. Swarup Lahoti wanted to ask, how can we use AI in formulation and development? Is there any way?
Yeah. Yeah, we I have developed one formulation application. This is called a recommendation engine, which is suppose if you want to develop a particular API, what are the excipient is suitable for this particular API. If I do this API, if I build a product based on this API using these excipients, my stability of the product, drug product, will increase or not.
Okay.
Those things we can apply in particular manner in formulation, and we can build a model. Yeah, there is a development is going. It's already started using. People are using in data Redis. So there's lots of things we can do in formulation development.
Fine. So I think we are enough with the questions. If at all there will be questions, we'll take a few more questions, like one or two. Yeah, there is a question. What is driving today's progress in AI?
What is driving?
What is driving progress in today's AI?
Maybe the driving force, the motivation.
Yeah.
Driving force in AI, it is anywhere you can apply.
Okay.
Means it is a simple that you can apply. Suppose I want to make a tie for my kid.
Okay.
You can do it. You can do it. You can build a application that if you make one tie car, your daughter will never touch it. When they touch it, it goes before she touching. Means you have to utilize that sensors and applications and build it using your idea. So anywhere it can be applied AI application. So that simple means you need to have an idea how to apply.
Yep.
Where the data is there, how to apply.
Santosh,
Now I think we close the question session.
sir, can I ask the last question?
Yeah, please, sir.
Raghu sir, maybe this is the last question I want to ask. I saw in your summary slides that you said that AI can make this drug discovery quicker, cheaper, and more effective. But then again, you also mentioned that there are not any big examples or good examples to say. I mean, when will we get the first drug which can be claimed as the AI, which was totally from it to AI developed one?
Yeah, you know it. Even you build a very good AI algorithms or AI platform, but validation have to be done by experiments.
Okay.
But we can be a support team for the discovery process, and to get that exactly, suppose if you are running 10 clinical trial compounds, in place of 10, you can run 5 compounds.
Okay, so I think maybe another 2 or 3 years it will take time before it gets any good results, or we start seeing drugs coming out of this AI process.
Yes, it definitely it will reduce the complexity in drug discovery process. Indeed, it will reduce the time, and it will reduce the experimental cost.
Yeah.
So that it will process will be speed up.
So that means there's a huge potential for it, and the youngsters have lots of things to do there.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, just a minute, sir. There are I think 9-10 question on YouTube in the same line.
Okay.
And all maybe from the student side, I think, because the question seems like it is asked by student. Can you suggest any courses that can be done after B Farm or M Farm?
Okay.
So as we can get easy entry in the industry.
Before means there is a lots of courses are there. People are studying, but for my personal opinion, doing the courses is not going to help you. Okay, do practice if you want to really build a models or you want to use it. Take one real-time example. Try to build a data, try to build a model, try to analyze that. Then you will learn a lot. Then the making courses in online. Practice is very crucial for this model building and understanding the models.
Means altogether for AI, we need to first have a clear-cut idea about the problem, and we need to generate a large amount of data about it.
Yes, and go specifically for take the particular problem, try to build a model and try to see that why it is a different algorithms are behaving differently.
Yeah.
What is the max behind it? How it is behaving differently? What is this? How we are selecting this feature is very important. So this kind of analysis will teach you a lot than the going tutorials.
Yeah. So I think we stop here for the questions. Still there are questions are coming, but we're not going to take any more questions now. So now I request Anil sir. Hello, Anil sir, are you there in the room?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, Anil sir.
I think he is not here, but
hello.
I think yeah, Anil sir is here. Yep, sir.
Yes, Dr. Santosh.
Yeah, we done with the question session, sir. So now you please propose vote of thanks with Ravi Kiran sir.
Sir, some problem from my side as far as connectivity is concerned.
Okay. So I
please,
think Ravi Kiran sir is here. Yeah, he is here. He is here. Ravi Kiran sir, please. I request you to propose the vote of thanks.
Hi, Dr. Santosh and Dr. Anil and Dr. Raghu. Glad to meet you over this, the virtual conversation.
Thank you.
Glad to have you all here. And it's really wonderful to connect with you. And thank you so much for being part of this initiative. And I think when we really looked at the overall, the macro spectrum of the topic, I think gives me a lot of joy in sharing. Till yesterday, that the entire industry is really looking at more on the ITES industries. But thanks to COVID, that there is a paradigm shift in thought process, that not just that, the conventional IT is going to be anymore. I think the fundamental, the courses like healthcare is going to be, back on track. I think that gives me a lot of joy in sharing, and I think this is a apt time that you are here. And also gives me that the healthcare industry is also evolving rapidly with the large volumes of data. I think a couple of years back, it is more on how the patient is, but it is not about the patient now. It is the record of the patient is also equally becoming a viable, source of information in curing the, disease in the long run.
Yes.
I think what you are really, articulated, especially the new AI models, can really help the radiologist distinguishing the COVID between the non-COVID pneumonias and all that, and reading the chest CT examinations. And also happen to see some of these, when Dr. Anil Peters, suggested me to join the webinar, and also started reading some of this, and it's really interesting to know there are a lot of AI tools are also being predicted on the social distancing.
Yeah.
That is something very, very interesting to know. And of course, your area of interest, especially on the healthcare that you have really mentioned, I think seems to be a very, very a unique one. And I think time has come that I think the early adopters of AI is going in healthcare space are reaping the benefits in terms of the patient care, adding their bottom line results, and everyone is noticing that the scale how it is really progressing. And I think companies are also started using for the number of scenarios, including what you have mentioned is the managing the claims, detecting the fraud, improving the clinical workflows, predicting the hospitals acquired infections. I think that's something which is very on a positive note. And open source enterprises, open source and enterprise AI platforms are really empowering the leading healthcare companies to deliver very good solutions in AI platform. And that's going to be the change in the industry. Yeah. And thank you so much, Dr. Raghu. Really happy to have you. And more importantly, that, your eye for the details and addressing the Q&A very, very eloquently is really, appreciable. And thanks to all the participants being part of this initiative, and our apologies. I think we also, in this COVID situation, we are also doing a lot of experiments, moving from one platform to the other, how each platform is really behaving. I think we need to run with the time, and thanks for your patience and understanding, moving from a YouTube platform to a Zoom, and that's really, really great. And also happy to note some of our participants are at the naturally enjoying the farmhouses, backyard and all that. I think that shows the learning is going to be a very natural phenomenon now. Yeah.
Thank you, Ravi.
So thanks to everybody. Thank you, and Dr. Anil, Dr. Santosh, Dr. Kapil, everybody are, fabulously managed it. And Dr. Raghu, we continue to have you here. We seek your more guidance in days to come. Okay, not just one webinar, but more frequent visits to the campus once the situation prevails, and also more interest in the students, well-being in the entire.
Thank you, Dr. Ravi.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Finally, sir. Finally, I would like to
thank you, sir.
Express my regrets to all the YouTube viewers, because we got little bit delay on the YouTube, so extremely sorry for that. But you people bear with us. Thank you very much for the patience. And I think this session is over here.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Raghu sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Raghu sir.